Oh, never mind.
Sorry, interrupt.
You don't, I do.
Well, call him or text him. I'll call him. It would be 3 in the afternoon there, right?
Yeah.
Peter said it's almost on. You think he forgot about us?
I guess he hasn't been seen, so I just. One down.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Legislative function has just.
We're full up, right? This commission is. Eric, it's Mark. Are you joining us for the Disability Advisory Commission?
I sent him a Zoom link. Does he need to send it again?
How is he supposed to get in? He said he didn't get an email.
Oh, I sent him the Zoom link. I can send it. I can send it again.
Oh, he hasn't seen his email today.
Oh, it was the other day when he emailed me.
Can you call
I can
him?
also invite him.
Wait a minute, can you call him, or what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna invite him to this.
Okay, she's typing on a computer screen that she's sending you an invitation to the links. Is it Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
It's a Zoom meeting, I guess. We'll see you soon. Bye. He was kind of waiting for it. He just said he didn't know how to log on.
Oh, I sent him. Because that's why I created the That's why I created the Zoom to begin with. It's for him.
Can I just say thank you for using Zoom? I'm dealing with other organizations who are using other platforms. Every single one is inferior to Zoom. I mean, I don't normally believe in monopolies, but oh my God. What's it, Google or Microsoft Teams? I hate that with a passion. GoToMeeting.
I don't like GoToMeeting.
Web meeting, I mean, and certain companies, they have no choice. It's like, that's our subscription, we have to use it. Oh, they're awful.
I just sent him an invite via email.
Okay. So I since I've never called in, I didn't know what the city used.
Yeah, it's Zoom. We do Zoom phones, Zoom, everything.
Unless it's inter-office, we use Zoom, but otherwise we use the dreaded Teams.
So it's true to have a video feed.
We can just, well, I guess when Eric gets here, skip to active agenda, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's entering the waiting room right now.
Oh. I think you have to admit them. Just makes it sure.
You don't have to admit him in Teams.
So he should be present.
Okay, I think you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Can't see you, but we can hear you.
Maybe he just called in.
Okay.
Alright, so Eric, we're just gonna skip straight to the active agenda, which is the discussion of 10th and 11th Street sidewalk.
Oh, do you guys, I know a lot about that.
10th and 11th Avenue.
Avenue. Apologies.
Yeah, I know more than almost anybody in the city about it.
I believe that's why they
Anybody know anything
suggested
about it?
calling you.
Right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
last month we had talked about how you wish to discuss further the issues surrounding that area.
Yeah, that particular area, which is now an improvement area, they're fixing the curb cuts and everything else. It has a house on that east side where the landowner in the path put a retaining wall across that was centered halfway across the sidewalk, which is a public right-of-way. And so it's been there for years, and you can actually see the sidewalk at both ends of it underneath the retaining wall. and the ground behind it. So it actually, you cannot get a adverse possession of city property. So that is now really kind of a trespass. And the city has the right to ask the person who owns it to remove it. And the complications there is you have maybe 24 inches of sidewalk, which for a regular wheelchair can't make it. For an electric one, it's 23 inches and you maybe have an inch. And if you go down that sidewalk, particularly starting from the north end, you don't know what you're going to run into, because at the end, you run into a telephone pole that's right in the middle of the 24 inches of sidewalk there. So you cannot get past it. There's no way. And Avista, or whoever owns it, does not have to move it because they have a right of way. They have the actual easement use for it. And I don't know how much it costs, $20,000 or something like that to move one. But what I've asked the city to do in the past is to bring an action to get that done, and they actually did that. It was in the attorney's office. And they had a problem at the same time we were dealing with 19th Avenue, which has now got a new sidewalk. Well, at the time it didn't, had a dangerous sidewalk. We found out from that one that in the city code, they actually had changed things enough that there was no longer a reference to the appeal process for someone who would get someone to fix the sidewalk. So it basically disappeared until they could fix the code. Well, it took them about 4 or 5 years to fix the code. Then 19th Avenue, since there was now an appeal process, was actually pushed to be done, and it's completed. This is the same thing at the same time that it died or lost action while in court or negotiation because they didn't have an appeal process. They now have that. What Public Works needs is some ability to get funding or something to remove that, because they have money to do all the curb cuts and all the rest of that on this avenue now, but they don't have money for removing this. And it needs to be an action brought by the city against that landowner, so the landowner has the obligation to clear that, if they created it, even if that person belonged to us. So
Even if that person is what?
Whoever did it could be dead, but the current landowner is still obligated to remove the trespass. And it was a woman who had multiple rentals, and Tom Clark was representing her. But like I said, it kind of split between the cracks. And it was Gianna that had brought it. Well, she's long gone to SEL. So it's kind of one of these things that disappeared. So what I'm saying is we just make the recommendation for city legal or whatever to bring this action to get it done. Anything to give Public Works the ability to go ahead and move forward and clearing it out. Is that clear enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Mark.
A couple questions. Actually, one is just a clarification for the minutes. It's on the agenda, just discussion between 10th and 11th Avenue. We are talking about on 8th Street, right? 8th Street.
Yes, on 8th Street. It is on 8th Street. Right, just short of that realty office that used to be a store way back when.
Right. And we're not using, for the sake of the record, and I think this is appropriate, we're not listing the address of the property in question or the owner of it. We don't need to, that's fine.
We don't,
But
yeah.
it's a corner lot, and it runs the entire distance from the street to the alley. So it's like half a block.
It does. The city easement is occupied on the west side of the property.
Right.
So that the sidewalk there is covered on the landowner, the same length as the landowner's lot. So it doesn't extend into the alley, and it doesn't extend into the sidewalks in the front of the building, front of the house. It's just on this northwest side.
And
And it is, I actually fell because I originally got trapped in that. And I actually fell in my powered wheelchair into 8th Street and had to have an ambulance and was put into, actually went into status cataplecticus and ended up in intensive care.
oh my gosh.
So that's things that can happen. There's a couple of places I've done that type of fall about 3 times.
And again, just for
So,
clarification, the obstruction, this does not extend south of the alley to the second half of that block.
correct.
11th Avenue.
It stops at the alley.
Okay, so
And that happens to be,
my question, without mentioning names, and you may or may not know this, is the current owner of the property the owner who put in the encroaching retaining wall?
I highly doubt it. It's probably been there 60 years or more.
Yeah, I would agree. It's been there a long time. And if it would be the same property owner, that would be amazing. But, okay, so none of us know for sure.
No, I mean, you could check the records, but it's kind of irrelevant to the actual trespass, which is ongoing.
I know, but the cost will be quite extensive.
Yeah, it's gonna be borne by whoever.
It can be, or the city, as they've done, and oftentimes have kind of negotiated out and done other things.
I know.
But they need a driving force to help them with it.
I'm not any expert at all about real estate, but would an encroachment like this, assuming the property changed hands, would an encroachment like this come up during title search or anything to do
Yes.
during the property transfer?
Only if you did what's called an ALDA survey, when that's not generally done on a residential sale. And we have other people there that know more about this process than I do.
I'm just wondering if the current property owner was ever given notice about this. But the point is,
I know,
they have now.
well, they have gotten it in the past 4 or 5 years when Tom Clark came inside and Jan and they were discussing it. Then they discovered that, oh, this whole sidewalk thing has no appeal process. So we can't do anything because they have a right of appeal, but there's no procedure for it. And all it was a simple, the reference to the appeal code stayed the same when they changed the number on the appeal code. So even though it existed, the reference was incorrect. And it was probably a, one meeting fix, but yeah, they decided to rewrite the whole code.
Well, it's not a good situation, Madam Chairman. I mean, all you have to do is go there and look at it and realize, oh, this is bad. It'd be bad even if there wasn't a telephone pole in the middle of it.
You were talking, so between 10th and 11th Ave on the 8th Street corridor?
Yes, on the east
On
side.
the east side, sort of, on your way to Webster School.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a retaining wall because the house's yard is up here. It's above the level of the sidewalk in the street.
Didn't they just
About
have
2
a
cinder
lot
blocks.
of work to that house?
I don't know that.
I feel like they completely revamped a lot of it. I know they cut down trees, they fixed it up, because it used to.
Must have been a new.
Oh, that house is at the corner of 11th and 8th at that intersection. If you're talking
that's
about
true.
the jungle,
The jungle house.
and it's now a blue house that someone else has bought, and the woman that had been there, I think it's passed.
Yeah,
I had a lot to do with getting that cleaned up.
the jungle house. Yeah, that's true. That's been improved. Well, what are we looking for? A motion to the city to
Look into it.
continue to
Madam Chair?
pursue it?
Yes, Eric.
A recommendation is that you meet with, I'm blocking the head of the Public Works Department, and he can explain to you basically what he needs us to do.
Okay.
Because he's more than willing to get it done, but there's not money in the current project, which they're doing now, And this would be a good time to get that done. So talking to him is the practical side, about how we might proceed.
But again, technically speaking, it's the property owner's problem and it shouldn't cost the city anything. But
Yes,
the city putting some money toward it might just sweeten the deal.
Well, the likelihood is the property owner doesn't have any money.
the past property owner did, because she hired Tom Clark and she had several rentals. I wasn't aware of the issue though.
So maybe,
I'm surprised you didn't bring a cause of action after your stay in intensive care. That sounds really serious.
I've had so many of those, Mark, I mean, that I don't even worry about those things. So my recommendation is talk to him, get some guidance,
And what he needs
and,
from
because
us.
they may have some, they may have the ability to just go ahead and do the project, give the person notice, do the project, and then lien the property for the work completed. So in other words, it'd be paid off at a later time. That's an option, but, why am I blocking his name? Who's the department head for public works?
Dustin Johnson.
Yes, Dustin's the one that just, as a practical matter, he's the best to talk to on how to actually get this done while the project's going on. Legal can take care of whether you put it into, let them get the work, give them the notice, get the work done, and then lien the property, or give them a chance to pay for it, or whatever. So I don't think this was an action item, was it?
I don't think I listed it as an action item, sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so we couldn't really do, is it marked as an action item?
Well, it's
no, it's not.
Okay, so I think then that we would have to, this is just discussion, and this is just a suggestion to the chair to go process, and then we can do an action item from following up on that.
Okay, so, Matt has volunteered to partner up with me to get this addressed with Dustin Johnson and legal.
And Dustin is familiar with it. I have chatted with him about it.
I feel like Dustin's familiar with a lot of our stuff.
I can
Yes.
facilitate.
He's been very good.
Is there any more discussion in regards to this?
Now I just figured out, now it's.
There he is.
Hey, there's Eric.
he's on the screen.
I'm in the Rigmond Lamont Library with my grandkids getting books. Oops.
This was all science fiction when we were younger.
Yeah,
The ability to
4
do
years ago.
Star Trek stuff.
I'm gonna go off video.
Are we going to move on to the approval of minutes?
I see Mark making edits.
Yes.
You're always so fine detailed and.
Not always, sometimes I don't have time to read it, Madam Chair. So first of all, I was present at the meeting and my name is missing.
It's missing? Okay.
Not that I look for my name, I just always do a quick count and I
I'm
realized,
sorry.
only
Okay.
6 names, somebody's missing, and then I'm cross-referencing, it is me.
Okay.
Secondly, under active agenda, US Census Bureau, redefining disability, at the bottom, a motion was made. Eric made a motion, I seconded, but it doesn't show that we voted on it. I assume we approved it.
I can go back and double check.
All other motions on the minutes say all in favor, all in favor, but that one doesn't show.
I'll go back.
Unless the chairwoman forgot to call for a vote. Yeah,
I wanna say that there was a call for a vote, but I'll go back and watch the video.
well, the specific motion, as odd as it is, Chairman Peterson motions to investigate the local effects of the change of disability. Okay, I'm gonna be out of order here, but because we're talking about the minutes, but the Census Bureau issued a statement about a week ago saying they're dropping this. Yeah, they're not redefining disability, so it's
I think
okay.
they got so much backlash, right?
Yeah, so it makes the motion moot, there's no reason to
Okay.
investigate anything. In the next item, that is item B, that is exactly what we've been talking about here. Well, Dustin's letter of support was for the entire 8th Street corridor, 5th to 11th. On the second line there, it says, remove the encroachment near 9th and 10th, that we're already establishing it's 10th and 11th, between 10th and 11th Avenue. Because what we were just talking about is what's in the minutes.
I'll go back and watch the video.
Okay, well, I don't like to
Well, that
see.
might need to just be an update because it was incorrect information at the time.
Well,
Like it was
I,
said as incorrect information.
if we were all saying between 9th and 10th, but I don't think
I have
that's
to
the
go back and
case.
watch it.
Right, okay.
But I'll update it as well.
Oh, well, and there it is under section 5, future agenda items. Commissioner Peterson asked that 10th and 11th east sidewalk be on the agenda, which it is right here. Oh yeah, and I'm supposed to do an updated presentation on the aging of the valley.
I thought you could do that next month.
Oh,
That'd be okay.
if you want me to,
The
yeah,
most recent data, right?
yeah.
Well, because then in April, you had mentioned having someone else.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, Disability Action Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can comment about that in a moment, but anyway, make sure you send me a reminder. But I could do that. So those, I think, are my only corrections.
Okay.
Move to adopt the minutes as amended.
Second.
Any opposed? All in favor?
I
Okay, who made the motion? Mark?
did.
Did you
Second.
second? Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other comments on the?
And this comes from the minutes also. So it sounds as though you or someone from Disability Action Center might do a presentation in April or May on preparedness, right?
That I would?
It's
Well,
under
Mark-
section 5.
I think Mark had suggested as a future item, agenda item,
Mhm.
in April or May to discuss statewide health meeting regarding the vulnerable population. And then representatives plan to hold a fair in June for preparedness for people with disabilities. So I didn't know if
Oh, I'm sorry, you work there, don't you? Or you don't work there? Where do you
No,
work?
I work at OUI.
Okay, do we have someone on this commission who works at DAC, don't we? Didn't we?
I don't know if we do.
We don't?
We have a community member that often visits,
Okay.
that she's affiliated with them.
My apologies. We don't. We have 2 people from OUI and nobody from DAC.
I think I'm the only one.
Carrie
Yeah, you're the only
Peterson.
one from OUI.
Okay, who am I?
And then Amy's with the state.
There's,
Amy's
yeah,
with
Amy,
the state,
Matt's with Adams,
Jessica?
Jessica, she's a targeted service coordinator,
with,
New Horizons.
oh, my, confusion.
Question from Eric Peterson.
Eric?
Yeah, are we talking about disaster preparedness?
Yes, and I just wanted to add to that,
We have a coordinator for that at First County who's done really a good job of getting it put up together now.
but not for people with disabilities. That's the specific,
That would be the issue to address with them, and they do have, I'm on the committee for that, but I haven't been to the last 2 meetings, and, at Disability Action Center, what's her name?
Jolene?
Molly?
There's someone, Molly with a different last name than I remember.
Oh,
every
it's
time.
Strini, because I think
He
it's
is
fun to sing.
Yeah, she actually would be, I think, up to speed on this.
well, First of all, Eric, if you haven't heard, the county's losing its emergency management person. So he's,
Losing what?
our emergency management person, Mark, he's leaving. He was,
Oh, no.
oh, he resigned.
I haven't heard.
He was supposed to leave in December, but he's extended his service till March because they can't find anybody. Secondly, this is not a discussion of a future agenda item, it's just for information, is that there's, at yesterday's senior summit, we had a team of Lewis Clark State College nursing students who, as a project class, they did a presentation. As a class project, they're working on exactly the same thing, is developing a plan so that what they call vulnerable individuals, which would certainly include people with disabilities and senior citizens, are better prepared for crises and disasters, using the reservoir breach and the natural gas breach as examples. So they came to our summit meeting and did a presentation to collect information. It's a very, very challenging topic, starting just with communication. How do you communicate with them if they're not using the internet? So there is another entity, a group, it's students, it's nursing students, but they're very concerned about the issue and they're collecting data and information, and they hope to have their project done by May, of course.
You think they'd be interested in coming to talk with us?
I don't know. They came, all 7 or 8 of them, together with 3 professors to watch their presentation with a PowerPoint slideshow. So, it's a class. It's a team project. Take that as you will. What we saw there at the early stages, I wouldn't say was very substantive or practical, but they're at the beginning of the process. Yes, we could. They spoke for 20 minutes. We could probably cut them down even less than that, if you wanted to. But
If it's still the beginning of their project, maybe give them.
Well, they are now, but this would be April.
Comment?
Do you have a point of contact?
Yes.
Eric Peterson,
Eric.
comment? Yeah, I've been involved in this statewide till recently, and one of the biggest things, the most logical thing is you get a list of people who have these conditions, so you have some means of developing the communication. But you also run into disabled people do not want to be on any list, because it's kind of like in Germany, all the lawyers are on a list and all the lawyers killed. That's not saying the disability, but they are treated differently because of it. So, but the solution to that, the answer to it is they only get on this by consent, like an informed consent. Then you can have a list and actually be able to figure out, because we have problems with people not having internet, not having texting, not having a lot of family around. And the forest fires were a big deal because there was a lot of folks like that. So the consent issue is something that is something to address. I don't know what's right with it. Hey, shh, quiet. Hey, don't start my wheelchair. No, off, please.
Can I
Get
clarify?
Get down.
Can I clarify the future item
I'm
agenda?
done.
Is it for DAC to come
You just took off on my wheelchair.
discuss preparedness, or is it LCSE nursing students project, or are they two things?
Or both.
Yeah, they're separate entities, I think.
Well, they're separate entities, yeah, but same,
Yeah, but I don't
same project.
Same project.
Same
So
subject.
are they? Which should I put down for future?
Well, neither one has been asked, so you could put down both, and we could see who could be available. I don't know when our April meeting would be held. We're second Thursdays, right?
It occurred to me when Eric was talking about getting taken from the 8th Street incident to the hospital in an ambulance. I wonder if the ambulance could be checked to see if they have records of how many calls they make hauling people to the hospital that are disabled, that are I don't know whether that's an extremely rare thing or whether,
Eric Peterson, it's not rare.
yeah. Well, it'd be interesting, it'd add some power to the argument if you had, if you could cite, a lot of instances of people getting taken to the hospital, to the emergency room.
But you're probably thinking, with all due respect, of mobility type challenges. I would assume if they're simply people with disabilities, majority would probably be for a lot of things anybody, heart attack, stroke, blood sugar issues, those sorts of things. But you're thinking specifically
Accidents.
accidents, I fall and can't get up.
Injury accidents.
Would you count those in the home or only those in public places?
Well, I was to try to identify locations that are problem locations,
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, they certainly keep records of traffic accidents to know where to do traffic improvements. I wonder if
Well, they would probably have a record of their calls.
I wonder
Yeah,
if
that's what I was thinking.
if EMTs keep records of that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, I don't know specifically, but they would have records of
Eric Peterson.
ambulance calls.
Comment?
Eric?
Yeah, one of the issues you run smack into with this is HIPAA.
Yeah.
And it comes down to consent issues again.
It's just numbers.
Yeah, if they're not divulging any personal information,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be names, it can be just locations of where
Numbers and
they're.
Locations
locations.
and
It wouldn't
numbers.
even have to be dates, so you couldn't trace it.
Anything that you can use to find out who that individual will be is actually protected information. So like listing their address, all you gotta do is go to the county to know who it is. So there's issues with HIPAA that are kind of complex.
I think what Mark was saying was just the address of locations that this has happened at frequently on city property, yes? So it wouldn't be individual addresses, but locations.
In which case, it would be limited just to public places, accidents, not
Well, that's sort of
not
what
you
it's
falling in your
No, not home incidents.
With that side,
Yeah, that would be rarer. But the including the home residence thing, the transports of the things, getting things and having to be brought down to the hospital, they have a whole process for it, and that is not uncommon.
I'm wondering how many happen in public parks. Even though you can't, ensure 100% safety of anybody in any park, things happen.
That was just a thought.
Well, so was that under future agenda items or commissioner comments?
Kind of.
Where did we go?
Because if that data could be collected, then maybe we'd want it presented. I don't, what do you think?
You can always ask.
I can talk to the fire chief and see if that's something that they could even identify.
How far back would you want them to go, Mike?
5 years or something.
Ooh, wow, okay, 5 years.
I don't know. It might just be really anecdotal rather than getting into legal files and,
it might give them an idea that they want to collect that data in the future.
yeah, that's right.
Is that future agenda? Any other ideas for future agenda items? Commissioner comments?
Madam Chair, there's a committee, small committee of people that we're working to pull together the working title is Healthy Aging Conference on Saturday, May 4th. That name may change because it's interfering with another set of classes called Healthy Aging. But for the time being, a Healthy Aging Conference all day, Saturday, May 4th at Walla Walla Community College in Clarkston. More information to come. It's in the planning stages right now. It modeling it after one that I attended in October in Spokane, put on by Washington State University Medical School. So really good. It'd be a first-time effort. If we get enough sponsors, we would hope to be able to offer it for free. People can attend for free. And more information to come as the details come together.
Any staff liaison comments?
I have none.
Oh, would you pass along my thanks? I guess I was the only commission representative at the volunteer appreciation event for the city of Lewiston last Friday night.
In fairness, I'm in the middle of moving.
Well, I will say, there wasn't a
I plan to go
reminder.
too, and
There wasn't, oh, you forgot to?
well, I just, yeah,
There wasn't
I planned on
There wasn't a
going.
huge number of city staff either. A couple city council members, the mayor was there, of course, because he spoke. So the attendance obviously wasn't as big as it could have been, but it still was very big. We were treated really well, great food, great comments and discussion, nice little gift boxes that the city attorney's office made. Now, there were so many of them that I assume other volunteers for the city will get their box. I was halfway expected there'd be them here for you to hand out, because what are they gonna do with a whole table full of gift boxes? You're looking at me like you don't know.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, that's something that as volunteers come on, maybe they can give a volunteer like we do that with employees.
Well, what's inside is edible.
It's edible.
Stuff, and the city attorney's office assistant, I can't remember her name.
Lorraine.
The paralegal, I mean, she did all the artwork. They're beautifully crafted with the city seal and a ribbon on it.
Yeah, Lorraine, she's pretty amazing.
Very, very nice. One suggestion, I could deliver it to them directly, unless you wanted to, was if they had name tags that had our names and our affiliation, because you spent the whole time going around, sometimes to people you knew, and sometimes people you didn't know, hi, good to see you. What kind of volunteer are you for the city? What board or commission, or are you just a parks department volunteer, a library volunteer? You didn't know who anybody was, but that initiated a lot of conversations. But if they had time to do name badges. But it was a very nice event, and we appreciated it.
I wish I had attended. I got busy.
I was in Moscow until 6 o'clock.
Well, I mean, I guess I could have sent out a reminder. I literally didn't think of it till I saw it on my wall calendar, like an hour ahead of time. And, because it started at 6 or 5?
I think it's 6.
6, right. So I was getting ready to leave work, and it's like, oh, I have a event to
There
go
was
to.
no start-stop times. It just, come in
And they started the official program where the city attorney and the mayor spoke, which was not, on the agenda. So some people arrived after the program happened and I could have easily done that if I was tied up with something. It's like, oh, I'll drop by toward the end. But the mayor was really gracious. But it was a nice event. So, thank you.
It was year 1.
Yeah.
I think they plan to keep doing it, seeing what they can.
I'm trying to think what other, in all honesty, there weren't a lot of, I'm trying to think what department heads were there, and other than the city attorney, I really can't think of any.
Yeah, I wanted to go to support, but
The commissioner.
and I got reminded many times, so I have no excuse
Counselor
whatsoever.
Kathy
Schroeder.
Schroeder was there, Counselor Jim Kleberg was there, maybe one other. Anyway, thank you.
Adjourned.
Thank you very much. Goodbye. Oh, we've already.